तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ जयन्ती मंगलकाली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवदात्री स्वाहा स्वादा नमोस्तुते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, संघं शरणं गच्छामि, धर्मं शरणं गच्छामि, सत्यसाई शरणं गच्छामि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sairam Lin, Sairam from Malaysia.
Sairam Sharma, Sairam from New Zealand. And this is part 2 of Happy Buddha Purnima, where we are delving deeper into Swami's teachings on the Buddha and a few little nuggets on the side of interesting experiences this body witnessed in the ashram to do with Buddhism. And we welcome our listeners, as always. Welcome. Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you, Swami. We love sharing your teachings, and may they gladden the hearts of many. Now, in 1990, Swami very kindly gifted my husband and I a room in the ashram so that we could, anytime we came, we could stay without having to look around for a room. We were always guaranteed a room, and we could choose which room we wanted. This was a little Christmas present that he engineered for us, and I can tell you it certainly did come in handy. And of course, we kept things pretty quiet about our trips to India. We didn't talk about them too much because both of us were working in corporate-style business environments, and most of those people would just sort of poo-poo what we were saying. It was just, they would ridicule it, and we learned very early to not say very much about our trips. And I was doing quite a lot of work for Penguin Books, as some of you might recognize as a publisher. They're based in England, but they've got offices all over the world, and I was doing a fair bit of children's book work. And I got to know the publisher here really well. He was a lovely man. And one day I got a call from him in 1998, and he said, I said, Jeff, hello, is something wrong, with the book I'm doing? Because normally the publisher didn't call you. It was your editor who called. I thought, something's going wrong with this book I'm working on. He said, no, Lynn. He said, listen, I have something to ask you. I understand that you have an apartment in India. And I said, well, it's not an apartment. It's just a room with a bathroom. It's in a building. He said, can I borrow it? And I said, well, no, that's against the rules. But if you go there, you'll be given a room. All you have to do is rock up to the administration office, the accommodation office, and they will just give you a room. You pay for it. But like 10 days, you pay for 10 days at a time, and then you can renew it. Well, he said, I want to go. I have heard that you go to see Sathya Sai Baba, and my jaw dropped. How did he find this out? It must have been one of the book reps who had told me about Swami, because they all talk to each other. He said, I want to go see him. I've been thinking about this, and I really need to go see him. Because he didn't have any particular spiritual path at this point, but he was very, very fascinated by stories of Swami. And so I said, well, here's what you do. Here's how you get there. And, gave him a map of the ashram and so on. And he came back after 3 weeks he spent there. And he said, Lynn, I have had the most incredible experience of my life. And I said, well, what is that? I'm glad you had a good time. He said, well, I had often had the front row, and Swami would come by and look me straight in the eye. He didn't speak to me, but he looked me straight in the eye. And suddenly I began to get pictures of the Buddha. And I found myself longing to be with Buddhist monks. And I found out that not too far away, there was a Buddhist monastery where I could chant with 5,000 Buddhist monks. And I went there and spent time with these Buddhist monks, 5,000 of them chanting. And now I've decided that Buddhism is my true path. Something about the way Swami looked at me, it has ignited something in my heart. And I am going to found a retreat center for Buddhist people in I think it was Thames, the area called Thames in Coromandel Peninsula. I said, well, that's wonderful. And, I thought, well, this is nice. Lots of people come back from Prashanti and they have all sorts of ideas of what they want to do, and some of them do it and some of them don't. But I just wished him well. I thought it was quite a big U-turn for someone like that. But anyway, true to his word, this lovely man set up a Buddhist retreat center. And as the years went by, he delved deeper and deeper into the Buddhist faith. And you know what? He actually began to look like a Buddhist monk. And he's as lovely as ever. He's retired now from publishing, but he works in the freelance area as a consultant. But, he has this secret life. Well, I shouldn't say it's secret because it's no secret anymore. And Swami did that with just a glance at him. Now look at that. Being near the avatar is like being near a fire. He can ignite you, and that's what he did to my friend. He ignited the sleeping seed of Buddhism in his heart. Who knows? Maybe he had been a Buddhist monk in a past life. What ignited this sudden desire to chant with monks, to found a retreat center, and to live a life according to the precepts of Lord Buddha? As it said, different strokes for different folks. There's a faith and a path for every kind of person on this earth. Swami has said this. This is why there are so many religions and so many faiths. Now, Swami had so much to say about the Buddha, we could hardly squeeze it all in 2 parts. But one thing I thought was that he said, and this was in a book called Baba, the Breath of Sai. Some of you may have come across that. Swami said, you have seen hundreds of funerals. Meaning, he's talking to us here. You have seen hundreds of funerals, but no lesson has been learned. Buddha saw but one. It changed the course of his life and opened a new chapter in the history of the world. You have seen long processions of Hindu monks. Buddha saw only one. And don't forget, the Buddha was born a Hindu. You have seen sick men by hundreds. The renunciation of the Hindu monk, the suffering of the sick, and the pitiable condition of the aged. These made a profound impression on Buddha. He left his palace, his wife, and his newborn child to seek a remedy for the miseries of life. He was called Siddhartha because he was a prince. And Siddhartha means he who has attained his goal. His family name was Gautama. He was a prince, the son of King Suddhodana and Queen Maya of the kingdom of the Sakyas, whose capital was Kapilavastu. He was born about 567 BC. He became Buddha, or the Enlightened One, later in his life, and formed the religion of Buddhism. He taught the gospel of the 4 Aryan truths. Now, Aryan goes all the way back to the Zoroastrian faith. 1, life is full of suffering. Every event in life is painful: birth, age, disease, desire, so on. 2, it is desire that is the origin of suffering. It is the craving or thirst that binds us to the unending cycle of birth and death. 3, it is possible to achieve the suppression of suffering. And the Buddha said, by wisdom and understanding, and through full awareness of the self, man can attain the state of bliss. And for this, he must awaken himself from the ajnana to jnana. In other words, no wisdom to wisdom. 4, The way to end suffering is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. And in this, all extremes are to be avoided, and the middle path has to be followed. He also said that by torture of the body, salvation cannot be achieved. So no point in wearing your knees out praying. No need to be fasting. No need to be putting yourself in a cave or living on beans and rice for the rest of your life. Swami taught non-attachment. He said a wise man looks upon everything in an objective, unattached manner is a real bodhi, or truly enlightened person. And it's interesting that Swami mentioned a bodhi, B-O-D-H-I, because it is said that the Buddha meditated under a bodhi tree, and this is when he achieved enlightenment. And Swami did say that the Buddha said, only the pure in heart shall attain liberation. And that's what Jesus said. He said, unless you have, a pure heart, like the heart of a child, can you enter the kingdom of heaven. Buddha didn't mention God or the soul in his teachings. He simply referred to manas, meaning the mind, which prompts all actions and words. And the whole doctrine of the Buddha, Swami said, is best expressed this way. It's just 4 resolutions. I will refrain from killing any creature. I will refrain from falsehood. That means no lying. I will refrain from stealing, and I will refrain from intoxicants. In other words, alcohol, drugs, and of course things in the 7 deadlies like lust. Lust is an intoxicant. Sorry to tell you, it is. And I think greed is an intoxicant as well. Money is an intoxicant if it's looked upon, the wrong way and used the wrong way. I mean, divinity shines in every one of us. It just has to be uncovered. I always remember Professor Pinkatraman says the mind and the heart are meant to be working together as a team. The purity of the heart should match the purity of the mind. But Professor said there is an unseen channel between the mind and the heart, and desires clog that channel and cause a kind of molecular phlegm to block this unseen channel. Professor was an atomic physicist, and he certainly understood atoms and molecules. He was vice chancellor, Swami's university, and he was the founding father, along with Swami, at Radio Psi. I never forgot this. He used to draw it like a little chart. The mind and the heart are connected with this unseen channel. And to get it, that's sometimes when we, the mind tells us to do one thing and our heart is telling us to do another. That is because that unseen channel is clogged with molecular phlegm. You think about that. You know what it's like when your throat is, if you've got a bad cold or flu and you're blocked up with phlegm and you can't really make good decisions or function properly. Well, this is what happens on a spiritual level within us. So, as Swami says, purity in thought, purity in word, and purity in deed. This is the divine trinity within. This is the way to God. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Om Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami, Sathya Sai Sharanam Gacchami. Om Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Raksha Sai Ishvara. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Sai Ishvara Arpanamastu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.